Cats all on me. Cats all on me. Cats all on me. Cats all loose. Cats all on me. Cats all on me. Cats all on me. Cats all loose. Cats all on me. Cats all on me. Cats all on me. Cats all loose. Cats all on. Cats all on. Cats all on. Cats all loose.
Chill. It's VFX and Chill, and I am Seth. That's Hashi, and down there is Michael. How is everybody this week?
Doing well.
What is Help VFX and Chill? It's what I'm supposed to say at the beginning. Welcome to VFX and Chill, the show where we take apart visual effects and put them back together again, and we look at stuff, and we talk about stuff, and we hang out with each other, and we just are friends. How much do we want to talk about our personal lives this week and what's going on in them?
I would say we could issue a general stay safe if you're in any of the crazy storm regions.
Okay, there we go. Didn't know if Michael wanted to talk about his life.
Those
we can
of
leave
you
it at
who
that.
may notice, I'm not in my normal dark room cave. I'm not in the back of the RV. I am in my husband's grandmother's house.
Classic.
Because I am in that lovely band of wet in the south. We left lovely warm Florida, came to the cold, and then Tennessee did its thunderstormy thing, and our campground got flooded. We could not even pull the camper out because the water over the only road we could get out on was a foot deep and moving so fast there was whitewater rapids. So it was great. But speaking of our
because you didn't consider.
Well, no. Before we go, I
Road.
just want to say our thoughts are with everybody who is displaced by the floods here in the south, where Michael and I tend to be, including Michael. Our thoughts are with you. All right, Michael. Now you can do your segue.
Seth, before we move on to the next thing, the chat. I need you to a new link. I need you to grab that new link.
All right, let me grab that new link. Hold on.
The chat show up.
Vamp for me.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot about fluid dynamics today.
Jesus Christ.
Yesterday.
Okay, Hashi, you vamp.
No, I'm kidding. No, like I was leading into something. For those of you who have been paying attention, before we get into the Thunderbolts trailer stuff, and the one other thing we definitely need to talk about in a personalized, the chat has already brought up. Maxon released a bunch of stuff on Wednesday this week. There's a new version of Cinema 4D, new version of Redshift, new versions of ZBrush for iPad and desktop, and Red Giant things came out as well. Those of you who used DaVinci Resolve, rejoice! You now have the gorgeous real lens flares or optical glow at your fingertips, which are some of my favorite things Red Giant makes, and they're now available right in DaVinci Resolve. You can even use real lens flares on the Fusion tab in Resolve, so you can get all that lovely obscuration, which is my favorite thing about it. It's so beautiful and so fulfilling to be able to use it. Cinema 4D got some lovely updates to the particle system, and all the Rocket Lasso spline modifiers now available to all subscribers, not just Maxon 1, which is nice. And a lot of them are now in the Deformers menu. If you have the default layout, if you've got your own custom layout, make a new one based off the new ones that are out, so you can have all that handy stuff in your tabs there. And Cinema 4D also snuck a peek in their demo video, or their launch video, of some liquid simulations coming in the future version of Cinema 4D, which is neat to know.
Man,
my fun segue.
I love that you have those all off the top of your head, and I hate that I didn't have any visuals prepped for it to show it off. So if you think it sounds great coming out of Michael's mouth, imagine how it feels going into your eyes. Go check that out at whatever link Michael provides.
Eyes.
Speaking of,
I see some people in the comments.
Does that chat link work? That chat work now, Michael?
Oh, hang on. I'm trying to find the actual release video so I can put it in the chat.
Yeah.
There it is.
No,
that's not it.
We gotta do that.
Where the heck is it?
Whatever.
Whatever.
News, personal
release
news.
Video. It's on our website.
The thing that you're all really excited to hear about, which is that I am getting a haircut today, and I can tell right now.
Just announced.
And that's all.
Chat
that's
link is
just
working.
announced.
Chat link is working. And Frigga Chillweather says, "Hey, saw the sketch trailer. Looks great." John Birmingham says, "Hey, sketch looks amazing." Michael Palak says, "Yeah, I'm excited to see sketch." So, folks, if you are new to VFX and Chill, one of us here, who is an amazing director for a long time, doing short films, commercials, and other things, has finally gotten distribution for their amazing feature film starring Hollywood stars and everything. And I am so excited about it. Hashi and I both got to see it in a theater packed full of other Maxon people, and it had like amazing reactions from everyone there. It's such a great film. If you like Spielberg-y movies of like kids and monsters, this is right up your alley. And of course, if you like Seth, you're gonna like the movie too. I want to watch the trailer so bad. Let's watch the trailer. Please.
I'll
Let's
even
watch the
tell
trailer,
you, if you
Seth.
don't like Seth, you're gonna like the movie. I think that it's
true.
not exclusive to that. But okay, here you go.
You have to promise not to freak out.
I won't freak out. I won't.
This is the blood eater. It eats blood and pukes the blood back onto people.
Okay.
That's always kind of been her thing, right? Drawing?
All kids like to draw.
Yeah, but has she always been so...
Dark?
We felt a phone call wouldn't convey the
Blood?
I don't care what people think of me.
Oh, well, you should. No.
I found this place in the woods. We dropped Amber's notebook in it. And now I'm worried that Amber's drawings might be...
What are you talking about?
Amber drew that?
She's working through some stuff.
Trouble on my left, trouble on my right. I've been facing trouble almost all my life. My sweet love, won't you put me through? Everywhere I look, I
You're not an evil person just because you drew some evil pictures.
Every part of that was horrifying.
I know.
August
Holy
6th.
cow, man.
In
Still gives me
theaters.
chills.
Yeah, the VFX and Chills. It goes without saying that the people on this show, the viewers of the show, the community behind this show, was instrumental in the especially in the finishing of this movie and the creation, the post-production of this movie. Hashi has been part of this journey of getting this movie made since it was a 160-page first draft. And yeah, I'm not going to cry on the show. I'm just going to say thank you to everybody who has been following this movie and has been excited to see this movie and who has been asking about this movie and who worked on this movie and who saw this movie and championed this movie. I am grateful to you forever, and I'm very excited for you to see what I think is a very, very special movie that will change your life irreversibly. It not to put too fine a point on it. There's also, because we work for Maxon, I would love to point out there are several shots in there featuring Maxon products. All of the titles feature an extensive amount of optical glow and some magic bullet looks and some other stuff and chromatic displacement. And there is a big old shot of Particular right in the middle of the movie. And if you can guess what it is, I'll show it to you and confirm it. That's not that great of a reward, but that's what I can do. Paulek, I love that.
I do want to call out this. Yes, that's such a good comment. Michael's got flooding. Seth's got hail. So good.
I think I got the better end of the deal. You recognize that fireball, do you, Brian the White? I bet you probably do. I don't remember where we got it. Probably Action VFX. Probably. I don't remember where that fire was from, but I do remember the thing about that fire. We may have talked about it on the show, but that specific fireball shot in the movie. Well, why don't we just talk about it? So, specifically the... where is that fireball shot? It is... Oh, I just had it. Right here. Hashi and I spent a week on this shot. And I honestly can't remember if this is Action VFX or where this fire came from. I have a feeling it was. And we could not, for the life of us, get... It just looked like a big old blob. Do you remember this, Hash?
Oh, yeah.
And then you had some idea that I've already forgotten. What did you do that actually got it?
Potentially using flow motion, like CC flow motion to like literally like retract it more to a single point?
I think there was a combination of that. Oh, I remember. And then you were extracting with extract, but the big thing that randomly like fixed this was Colorista. It was what's the setting? I'm going to apply it to the trailer for no good reason. It's not going to accomplish anything. But why is that not coming up? Okay. I have to fix my... Wow,
This is crazy.
Let's see. Colorista...
How many screens is that movie going to premiere on, Seth?
I don't think I can say out loud, but a lot.
Oh, I didn't know if you could.
Enough. Like
it'll be in theaters near you.
It'll be in a lot of theaters and very likely near you. Oh, clarity. So if you notice, if I turn up clarity here, you see you suddenly get all of this like sharpening detail happening in the shot. So if I turn it back down, so we just randomly applied Colorista to the stock fire, turned up that clarity, and suddenly we had all of this, like what you see in the shot is all of this fire detail.
Because the glows were like outdoing each other in a blurry way.
Absolutely. Oh man, and tons of super comp all over this movie and show.
I was gonna say this. I remember you talking about there's super comp and like all over the place.
Yeah. So like, let me see if I can find. There's these shots where, and I've actually talked about. I think I even pulled up this shot in the show, but there is a. Let me see. It's when the boom. This shot. So all of this like haze in the air is fake. It's added in post. It's a combination of an Action VFX fog layer, and then I think just like a random ramp or gradient, but applied with super comp and doing blur behind it and haze. It just creates this instant, like with a little bit of roto to separate like layers and stuff. It created tons of shots in this movie that you'll come to see. Let me see if I can find that particular shot. Which is
it an international release or is it all US?
International, worldwide, baby.
There you go, Patrick GG.
Woo! Worldwide. Here we go. This is actually one of my favorite shots in the movie, effects wise, because
this might be my favorite shot in the movie.
It's so crazy. In particular, I did not do a lot, and it just worked. I could even see if I can apply it right now.
We promise for those of you who tuned in for Thunderbolts, we're getting to it.
We're getting to it.
This
for all the people who are super excited for Marvel's The Thunderbolts asterisk.
We know everyone has been itching for Marvel to bring that story to the big screen.
Phase 17.
Everyone's absolute favorite. But here real quick, if you want to learn how to do glitter, I can show you real quick just like the basic parts of it. I believe that in my custom presets down here, I've got glitter, sketch, glitter, all kinds of different kinds. Let's see. Let's go with sketch glitter V05. Maybe that's it. Yeah, there we go. You probably can't see it. I'll have to go in and turn up. I don't know why I have these two bases down here, but like if I turn up the particle size to like 12, can turn up this one size to 12. They're duplicates of the same system, but one of them is blinking. So like I have this system, if we can see it, that's just colored dots falling with a bunch of like, air turbulence and some spin applied. And then with motion blur, really sells is like it's really falling in the air. But then on top of it is this. On top of it is the same layer, but with this opacity. They're set to white particles, and the opacity over lifetime is this like spike look across of it. And so it does this like sparkle thing. And so those just apply right on top of the original particles. Good. And that creates that feeling of glitter. So if you want to beat the film to theaters with your own glitter, it
seriously is fantastic on the biggest screen you can see it on. I was happy that we got to see it on such a big screen. It is crazy because you forget that. Yeah, you forget that.
You forget that movies are fun up there. Well, it really is. It's like a dream. Every filmmaker's like, the intended experience is in the cinema, but when you actually watch a movie in a theater full of people and it's a freaking blast, like it's the most validating thing in the world. Like, and the movie really does it. I'm not to overhype it, but I can hype it up like this because it was not made by just me. This was a massive team of people making this movie together, very talented people, and they are the reason that I can say all of these things. The biggest being that it is genuinely a blast in a full theater. Like if you go see it, take as many people as you possibly can. It is like there's a stretch in the movie that feels like, and I'm not kidding, it feels like you're watching an Avengers like in-game. Like there's a section of it where there's a crescendo of cheering, like of things that happen that make people like scream and cheer and laugh, and it's just so fun to watch in a theater with people. And I'm very happy. Hashi, are you trying to brag on this? Are we still at 100?
I'm bragging over here just
are
because,
we still?
Like, knowing that people who went to TIFF to see this, it is currently sitting at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Still at a hundo.
People who could have been harsh on a sort of movie.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
I doubt that'll last very long, but we're still sitting at a hundo.
Crazy.
And our trailer's there too now. That's great. I love that.
Sketch trailer.
Speaking of it, if you want to watch it again in possibly full screen, go ahead and hop into the chat because the link is there. Link is there in the chat, so you go watch the trailer again. Make sure you like it, comment on it, say how excited you are to see it, etc., etc., etc.
To answer your question, the sound design of the monster was not a T-Rex. The sound design was done by De Facto Sound, very, very, very talented group of people who did some killer work on the movie, and I can't wait for you to see it. Michael, I ruined your segue. I apologize.
No, I was just gonna say, speaking of the chat, if you're watching this show and you're like, hey, where are all these chat comments coming from? I don't see them in my chat box. Well, the majority of the chat is happening over here on youtube.com/@VFX and Chill. That is our main channel to which we stream. But we are also streaming other places. Hashi's Action Movie Dad Kid channels, Maxon Training Team, and of course, Red Giant, which is where this all started.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Seth, we are so proud of you. That is crazy, crazy, crazy.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys very much. August 6th, everybody, in theaters. Go see Sketch. So, speaking of in theaters, what are we talking about this week?
We're talking about a movie that will be in theaters, I think, in May. It is another Marvel movie. Can't get enough of them.
Can't get enough of the Marvel movies.
But
let me see.
Why don't we pull up some clips? I will try to not be a cynical jerk.
So here's our trailer.
Here's the trailer. This is for Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts.
Asterisk.
And the main reason I'm a little cynical is just that the dialogue in this trailer is literally them saying, he's like the power of 10,000 super soldier serums.
Oh, is this the one with with JLD?
Better than all the Avengers combined. If he were to die, the Earth would explode with the
Hashi's
going to
go for a while, so I'm just going to go
like,
ahead and maybe, I can't really turn him down, but I am going to go ahead and just kind of talk over him, because I think he's going to go for, he's done. So, You're saying this is the one with JLD. I have the sound turned off with the JLD voiceover where she's like, he's more powerful than any of the Avengers combined.
It's two fourth graders inventing superheroes that can destroy each other. Is what this trailer audio sounds like.
That's true.
Oh no, but he could defeat Infinity Captain Americas.
Now to offset or whatever, like Hashi's vibes, I will say the first teaser. I haven't watched this trailer, but the first teaser trailer for this movie was very fun, and I was actually a big fan of the vibes. And I am someone who was like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be done. I don't want to be tired of any franchise, but I am kind of tired of Marvel. And then they'll do some trailer that's really fun and cool, and I get excited again. And that's. I'm not saying I'm super.
The trailer had like really cool vibes to it.
This new one is fun too. I haven't really watched it, but I do love big block lettering, and what I think is just impact. To be completely honest, talking type here without my pal Polly, but I'm pretty sure that's just impact, which is bold. That's a bold. I mean, both literally and stylistically. Okay, I think we already saw the effects that we want to talk about on the show, right? It's this guy, this floating dude who's like, he goes a bing bong and he turns people into burn marks.
There's one called clips in the for show.
Why not?
Is that you just want to just see the? There you go. Whoa. Yeah. So yeah, it's like one of his powers is like casting this shadow. I had to research this.
Okay, explain us. Tell us. I doubt the chat will be able to do this. So you, Hashi, tell us what is the mythology at play here? What are we talking about?
Well, if you're a fan of the comics, you're being introduced to a bad guy that is called. God, I forgot already. It's not Syndrome.
Void, darkness.
No, you see,
Black
Void
hole.
is only half of him. He's also, oh my gosh.
Nothingness.
The word is Sentry.
Sentry.
Sentry is really his name?
He's Sentry, but also when he gets mad. You wouldn't like him when he's mad. Becomes the Void.
Oh, when are we going to get an Avenger that I like when he's mad? Like,
I know.
Like the Incredible
Samuel L.
Hank.
Jackson.
What if there was an Incredible Hank that turned pink?
He wasn't an Avenger, though, I guess.
The Incredible Hank? I don't think that's even a real thing. I'm just making it up right now.
Oh, well, it will be by the end of the show.
Yeah. I just want the Incredible Hank to turn pink and to, like, when he's angry, he's just like, y'all! He just gets really, like, he's really more feminine. So he's nicer, and we like him. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, Brian the White is saying that he's the Sentry and his powers are the Void.
Brian the White, are you the arch enemy of Sentry?
And Michael Paul. Oh yeah, his real name is Ryan Reynolds, I think.
Oh, yeah.
in real life.
I remember now. Hashi got fixated on calling the man Ryan Reynolds during our prep for the show, and refused to stop calling him that. So Ryan Reynolds is the bad guy.
I get Brian the White might know more than I do. Anyway, but he
don't care. You don't care at all.
He can cast a shadow on everything, and that's why you can't see him. It's sort of like the bad guys in Attack the Block.
You are so tired as you explain this to me. You're like, he's kind of like, you're like adjusting your glasses.
I'm bringing none of my positive vibes to today.
Look, here's what I do think is cool. I do like the effect, turning him into.
I did literally see this little section as a teaser online and sent it to Seth last week. I was like, let's just do this. This is great.
I was the show might be 5 minutes long, to be honest, because I'm looking at this and I can see already a way to do this. But in fact, what's funny is during our prep, Hashi, you prepped some really cool versions of this. And then we went back and re-looked at this footage and realized your prep is actually slightly cooler and more like it
kind of was, because I saw that like letterboxed but in portrait mode on like a TikTok ad, and then was like, oh, let's do that. I get the vibe. He's like ashifying people like into these. I think I called them skid marks too, Michael Pollack.
Yeah,
and
then in classic Hashi form, proceeded to never look at the reference again.
Never. Don't ever look at the reference. It'll only let you down.
Work from memory.
So I can pull up the two things that I started with. So I started with this piece of footage of someone running, and I did this quick version.
God, I freaking love it. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
It looks good. It just works.
Just a little slight blast from the sky, so it gets a little bit bright for a moment, and then this hint of a quick fade, and then kind of like a little cloud of dust and ash hitting the ground.
Displaced.
That's what I thought the effect
and it's
was.
Displaced in the rocks too, in a really, really nice way.
Yeah. So there was that, and then I realized, no, it's actually, and actually even for this shot, I was like, it's a little bit boring, and so I decided to camera track it and then do some content-aware.
Jesus, sorry.
Generative filling here. Ooh.
No, go away, Robert. Stop it. Hang on. Okay, sorry about that.
So then I was like, well, I could generate a top half of it and make it a portrait video. I didn't know what the bad guy was, and so I just grabbed a Mixamo character and threw a little Mixamo bad guy in the background with a little C4D cloth cape.
It really is so cool. I mean, the thing is, you could turn that red and it would be upsetting.
So yeah, so just the actual effect is really simple, and one thing that's kind of cool about this is that really it's a great beginner After Effects VFX kind of effect, really, because all you need is footage of somebody running and basically a surface that they are running on. So the shot kind of matters, I guess, but at some point you just need to roto them out and give yourself an empty plate, camera track the footage, and then cast a shadow of them onto the ground. I actually did.
That's all you need to do. That's our show. Everybody have a great week.
That's it. All those simple steps. I think I ended up in. Is this the
show? Is this
my final version?
Yeah.
Found a piece of stock footage that was pretty similar, and I still couldn't resist adding smoke or something.
No, we did our own version. We like our thing.
Yeah, this is our own.
So I want to know how you did this, but before you walk us through how you did this, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are walking through Thunderbolts Asterisk, the Sentry Death skid mark time. Hashi, tell us how the hell you did your version of it.
All right, so let's see. I'm going to close that version. I'm just going to open up a little sample one. All right, so we've got this piece of stock footage of these very happy people jogging along, and it's kind of cute. So
I'm always happy when I jog.
What I did,
so happy.
and this
love it.
This was surprisingly easy because the new RotoBrush 3 is actually really good. I've created actually all of these characters are slightly on their
so
own layer
happy.
to some degree.
I'm sorry, I can't get over how happy they are. In fact, they're so happy, I almost feel like you could just go and make, a greeting card out of it in some way. That but I honestly,
they're so happy.
They are. They're so happy to be exercising and running away from the void from
If you're
Sentry.
out there in the stock world, we're really missing out on crowds of terrified people running from things. Just
we're good. We don't need more of those. I think.
Yeah.
It might not be good for society.
So yeah, the effect is very simple, and let's demonstrate it with just one of these front guys right here.
Front guys.
Use this guy. So the effect is basically, and by the way, to do the background, I used a combination of content-aware fill and my cool 3D plane stamp tool, which is great.
Sorry, hang on. Okay.
Yeah, grab that fun free tool. Basically, what that does is, let me show you. For example, I'll create a new solid. Oh, why would I be working in 4K? That's ridiculous. I'll make this a 3D solid, and then at some point you'll see that I have a camera in here that has tracked the footage, so you can sort of see there's that. And the way the 3D plane stamp works is I can just find some section of the floor, like this section right here, put my little card there, find a frame that I like kind of where it is, and then I just press the 3D plane stamp and wait for just a moment. And what happens is that 3D solid on the ground gets replaced by a new solid that has the texture of the floor. It's like basically like the most rudimentary version of like a projection tool, like for paint apps kind of stuff. But the fun part is you can combine them and end up with something crazy like this. So now, yeah, we've eliminated the other runners, and you just kind of pick your spot. So I'm going to say, like, right after it clears the tunnel right here, let's turn this guy into a shadow, maybe right there. So I'm just going to I'm going to split the layer, Control-Shift-D right there, and then I'm going to say time freeze frame on this last frame right here. And then I'm going to actually, because this is all 3D and moving, oh, I like that. Cool effect. But basically you can just take this thing, this layer, I'm going to turn him black, and then I will make him 3D. And once I make it a 3D layer, they are all going to a spot that's a little bit further forward. And you can see, because I created that little card, you can see like where he disappears in the floor, which is kind of cool. So what I'm going to do with this frozen guy, let's call him Shadow. And let's go to his anchor point, and I'm just going to slide the anchor point so his foot is sort of where the axis is. And there are other ways to adjust your anchor point by like opening up the layer, but I like doing this interactive way.
Me too.
So now that I know he's on my ground plane, I'll try to push him back to kind of where I think that event happened. It was around here, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was a pretty good guess. Look at that.
Look at that.
Right in Z space. So you find the frame that happened. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees and maybe a little bit this direction. Then now you have running guy, and then suddenly he's his shadow. So the thing that I saw that they did in the trailer, and I actually just did this with the front layer of the guy, I would just take him, extend him one frame over where the shadow appears. And for this single frame, so I guess maybe it's easier just to split off one more frame. I'm using Control-Shift-D again. So we have here is, guy running and rotoed, guy's shadow 3D layer, copy of the original footage that I'm just going to quickly fill with black again. Then I'm going to add a radial blur to, specifically CC radial blur is my favorite. Fading zoom. I'm going to take this little point, which is the origin. I'm going to put it kind of up here so that it's pointing toward this shadow, and just turn up the amount. I'll tell this to work in half because I'm working in HD anyway. And basically, just do something like this. Like you do it to taste, but basically, it's like it's the Homer Simpson cloud, like speed cloud. Just we're literally one frame. I tried 2, and 2 looks slow for this effect.
It works. You can see the shadow moving, even though it's only there for the frame. Like it works.
And one thing that I liked doing also was adding another radial blur to the ground shadow layer and putting it right by the origin there, switching it to fading mode also, and then turning up the amount just a little bit. that both simulates the idea of, like shadow, like fall off or whatever, but also it, to me, it looked more like a scorch mark, and I thought that was cooler looking. So this is what you would do if you had a very 3D camera move thing. And that's basically all that's happening in the trailer. Maybe along with you do an adjustment layer that has, I don't know, a quick keyframe on the levels here. So let's have it go. Actually, let's pull that in.
GG says they totally forgot about using fill as a tool. I always use tint and mapped both to black. There is an advantage to doing that in that the tint effect has a built-in opacity slider. It's a little more complicated to do that with the fill effect. So they're both useful.
I couldn't hear the beginning of what you said there, Michael. I don't know why.
Oh, sorry. Pat GG says they forgot about using fill as a tool. They always use tint and map both to black.
Oh, yeah. It is handy if you have to fade it out over time, for sure. So here, that might be too much exposure. That's the giveaway that you're doing a fake viral video. You're adding fake lightning to something so that you brighten the whole thing, but you get it. Look at that. So that's the effect. That's basically it. I really liked adding a little bit more flavor to it, and so the way that I do that is I went to, I believe these are from Production Crate. They have one called Ground Dust Hit, and they also had some aerial impacts. Let me see, probably that one. And what's fun about these is now that I have this shadow 3D layer on the ground here, I can maybe duplicate it and swap in this dust burst pattern. All I need to do is remember to disable the time remapping, though, since I don't want it time remapped. And so this shadow should have a fill effect. I'm going to delete the radial blur on it. And then let me quickly see if I can see this. What am I doing? I'm trying to rotate it. Oh, yeah. Oh, I replaced it with the wrong one. To replace it with this one. I'm just holding down Alt, dragging my footage right to where it is once it's selected. So now I have this impact mark on the ground. I can kind of rotate it around to whatever angle the impact happens at, and then depending on the scale that I'd like it to happen at, let's see, my anchor point to right there, so I can scale the whole element kind of, so it kind of goes right with the streaks of the character. And then if that starts right when the shadow starts, in fact, I could even start, like, scroll a few frames forward, just cut off the beginning. You can either time remap it to explode really quickly and then settle. But there you go. Now you have this little teeny bit of extra spreading out detail right when it hits. Boom. Like that. Kind of like charcoal dust or something. And you could do the same kind of effect with that little dust cloud that I accidentally brought in earlier. Just a little standard dust burst like this. It's actually bright, so I would fill it again with black.
Fill it with black. Or when it's red by default, again, it's upsetting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, which is also, it's a good one to add if you're ever adding, if you're doing some kind of violent thing. You can always add a dust hit that's slightly tinted. All right, let's put that right here, and I could make it 3D, but I'm just going to try not making it 3D. I'm going to do the time remapping trick where I enable time remapping, Control Alt or Option T, and I find the spot where the bloom has sort of landed and make a keyframe there, and then bring the first keyframe a little bit closer so the bloom happens really quickly. And then let's just say right here we want there to be sort of a smoky explosion like that, about this big.
Smoky explosion.
And so that it doesn't track well. So I'll put it, I'll make it a 3D layer and actually move it back in 3D space. Far back in 3D space is it? Goodness gracious.
I mean, you could put it in the same 3D position as the other thing pretty easily by copying and pasting. But
Patrick wants you to add
I have to look it up. There we go. check it out. So now this is how you could do this effect all in like a 3D space. If you have a locked camera, it's even crazy easier. Hey, Sonny. Hopefully, Sketch will come to a theater near you as well.
We're just wishing that on people who don't even want it.
Just come home like, honey, sit down.
I don't know what it's allowed to say, but yeah.
So this effect is really lovely and simple, and I really like doing it. One cool thing that could happen if you had an instance where you don't have such a dynamic background and don't need the 3D of it all is that you could literally take your character and it just so happens that we make an effect called shadow.
Yeah.
It just does that.
Yeah, just keyframe it happening. Yeah, all you have to do is keyframe.
You move your. Whoops! I don't know why this is displaying weird. I'm in half. There we go. So yeah, shadows is a great effect where you can just put these lovely controls. I'm going to shrink them down actually because it's something weird with the 4K to HD thing. But yeah, this is the shadow effect. So look at this. You basically place your ground plane wherever you would like, and then you take your cast direction and put it wherever you like as well. So this does a remarkable job at just making a quick shadow like this. On top of all this, one of the cool things that I like about the shadow effect, right now it's in front of the foot, but I could actually say, put it behind the character there. And then I could do a couple of other things. I can soften the shadow, which is sort of the fall off effect that I wanted to have earlier. And you can also do this displacement map. I can select my clean floor, which I think is, what is it? Back floor 3D? No. Yeah, this one. I can select my background plate and switch the displacement to luminance, and now I can turn up the. Actually, I feel like this is weird. I'm gonna leave it on alpha. I don't know why. That feels like a bug. I should report that to Nate.
With the two names
But check this out.
Michael, I can't hear you, Michael. What are you saying?
I said there's a bug where the two names are switched. It's hopefully going to be fixed soon.
Oh, gotcha.
It might be fixed in the update that came out Wednesday if you did an update. But if you did update, then it's going to be fixed. Then it's the next update. They're aware of it. But yeah, Alpha and Luma, the names are switched for the things. So it should be on.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, check this out. So you can see that if you were trying to cast a realistic shadow, you can use the footage as displacement for something to go, like up over it, or if that was, the other way around, if you think of it as like a channel or whatever, you can do that. And
speaking of making the shadow go in places, can you make the shadow go up the wall if you had a character close to a wall?
That's a good point, because this shadow's going back almost to this wall. I know the lighting doesn't make any sense here, but for example, say like you wanted a really big shadow, except it looks weird. Say you want to do that Darth Vader poster.
Yeah, well, that's what we always think of when we think of a poster, a shadow on a wall.
So what if we went over here and just checked this little box right up here? Shadow style.
There's a Vader poster checkbox?
There is. It's actually,
Stu
called. We decided to call it Shadow Bend for legal purposes, but you can check Enable Bend.
I think we wouldn't,
and look at that.
Put it past
it just assumes that there's a wall there. And now you can adjust the angle of the wall. So look here, if I can exaggerate it just by dragging that up. And it's cool because now your controls are just these little planes and this little line to cast a shadow that goes and bends at a specific spot.
Nice.
And what's kind of cool is that even with, for this moving footage, it actually kind of works because all you'd have to do is keyframe where this is. And I've done a couple of instances where I'll map these to the 2comp location of 3D nulls, so you can literally make the shadow 3D. It's wild.
If you're using the public beta version of After Effects, you can very easily link all those points together to nulls, which can be 3D just with a right-click, left click. Like it's really easy to do.
Oh yeah.
Seth, we have a question about the color management, After Effects to sketch color workflow, which we can get to later. But first, Hashi, while you're on this shot here, there are some shadows on the ground in this shot. How do you add post shadows and not have them darken existing shadows? Because if something's casting a shadow from the sun, it doesn't get doubly dark when it goes in front of something. Do you have a trick or technique to make the shadow darken the ground where there's no shadow and then just, look like it's matching the shadows that are already there without like double shadowing?
I'm glad you asked. I'm going to open this little... saving that. Who knows if that was a good idea to save or not. I have another example where, let's see, let me find... because we were doing these kinds of effects the other day, it made me think, it's like one of the classic effects you could do with, freeze framing someone and then having them, cast onto the ground. This isn't a shadow per se, but this is something else you could do if you wanted to get more extreme and go into something like Cinema 4D and play around.
This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. I mean, you can't show us this and then not show us how you did it. It's absolutely insane.
It's crazy, but the main thing that I want to show is that the way this had to be created was that I needed to, let's see if I have the original footage in here so I can show it to Pool Runner footage. I think this is it right here. Okay, I'm off by a frame or something. Is it that? Other way. All right, so we've got the footage, and as you can see, as Michael was mentioning, he's got a shadow on the ground, and you can see, his shadow there, and also if you're going to comp in something, you're going to need that shadow there. So when cleaning the background plate, you need to also erase this shadow and make effectively what is an all bright version of your ground. I did this again with 3D plane stamp, 3D tracked it, and got a great result. In fact, I got 3 great results to create this effect. I took, and in fact, you can see a little bit of my sloppiness here. Because the lighting condition kind of changes from here to here, I took like a plane from this frame, a plane from this frame, and a plane from this frame, and am fading through them. But the nice thing about them being an image with a camera move is that it looks very solid, and you don't see all of the craziness from something like Content Aware Fill. Slight error right there too. But once that's all removed, then you have your character, which looks like this. And now they're rendered into the scene, but they're going to need their own shadows. And in this case, because I was in 3D, I was able to simulate them. And so what I got was this. This is an AOV of the shadow pass from Cinema 4D, which looks cool because it's like inverted. But think of this as an alpha matte for what would reveal your footage in shadow, which is exactly how I used it in this case. So I have a version here. I'm going to disable it for a second, where I really just took all the footage and toned it down to what I thought some of the shadowed areas were looking like, and then applied my shadow matte as a luminance reveal to show a darkened version of the footage. And what I based that on was looking at the color of the real shadow on the first frame when he's actually there, and just darkening the footage until it was about the same color. So I have a full shadowed ground, a full light ground, and then use that matte in between. And look how beautifully that works together. It's so much fun. And then to cover up the seams, added a handful of those exact same dust hits and things like that we just added to the other one. Craziness, right?
Really is.
And yeah, I got very carried away when I went into this all. So I ended up doing some other things that you could simulate in this scenario. Let's see, we've got running pool guy turns into cloth. We've got
there are tons of TikToks like this that I get addicted to watching. Oh my gosh! It's
Balloonified.
So now this is all I want to see you do the whole time.
Let's see what's this one. This is
It's so
that's
good.
the shatter.
I'm in the midst right now of trying to.
This is bouncy balls.
Oh, I do want to point out one thing real quick. You can use that shadow pass, and I really should do a Tip Tuesday on this at some point, but you can use that shadow pass in Super Comp as an adjustment layer to then just use a color correction effect, and so it will apply the color correction effect just to where that is. So that's another way to use a shadow pass. If you're comping in Super Comp, you can use a shadow pass to drive a color correction effect as an adjustment layer in Super Comp.
Oh, that's a good call.
You're welcome. Now
I see why I had two of that one copy, because it was supposed to be this version. This has to calculate some.
Now, guys, it's an exciting day here on VFX and Chill because I was not planning on this, but I backed myself into a corner and realized I might have to use a tool that we surprisingly don't use very often on this show.
What?
I'm going to see if you can guess what that tool is. I'm going to real quick show you. This is the clip that I am trying to do. I'm trying to take this Mission Impossible scene, having him running, and I couldn't decide if I wanted him to get zapped right here before he jumps and have it be really disappointing.
That's the best part about it. There's this.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of comedy you can do in when you decide to.
100%. But I think the best is right here in the air. I think if he can jump right there in the air and have it hit the wall and the ceiling.
Oh, look at that.
Could be really fun,
That's
right?
Crazy.
And so if he jumps in the air and poof, it hits the building. So I started painting him out. I used your 3D plan stamp tool, and then I encountered an issue. And now I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, and we're going to see if you guys can see what my problem is and how I'm going to solve it.
I feel like it's not lining up exactly because there's some what do you call it?
Some lens distortion.
What should we call it? If you could only somehow match the lens.
You could somehow match the lens distortion. So listen.
Was a child yelling it at the screen?
How have we not done? Wait, was Michael's child yelling the name of the product at the show? Have you taught your children, Michael, like in the way they should?
That any time you're using any sort of, especially a wide angle lens, and you're trying to do visual effects, you just have to use the lens distortion matcher.
Oh, you're kidding!
I
love it. They know, of course they know. See, raise your child in the way that the Bible says come up. I forget exactly how it goes, but it's a Maxon credo. So here, I am going to start from scratch now. I'm going to get rid of all this work that I did, and I've got I even have to get rid of the camera track. That's how crazy this is. So I'm going to pre-comp this section of the plate and work within that. Let's see, work comp. I'll call it. And I'm going to adjust composition duration to time span of the layers. And let's see how this goes. So we're all now combined in here. I am going to I'm going to take away my camera tracker and I'm going to apply Lens Distortion Matcher.
Lens Distortion Matcher. Ding, ding, ding.
So let's say, is this a good frame to do it on? Because I think it is.
I mean, look at the side of the building. That's great.
Yeah. So I've got horizontal lines.
You got lines both directions.
Well, where are my vertical lines? I don't see any vertical lines.
Wait, go back a few frames. Like right there. Here.
But it's not as distorted or warped.
Well,
here
no,
now.
look lower. Look down at the
down here.
that curve right there.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna mark this though, just so I can come back to it and see if there's any other.
This plugin is so satisfying, and anytime I come up on needing to use it, it's like boom, so beautiful.
This frame though, look at all that distortion. It's like I kind of want to do this one, but
you can go for. I mean, like that's the cool thing is that
I've got some horizontal lines here, right? I've never tried it. Can you do multiple frames? I don't think so.
You technically just leave the line there because it's the lens. The only thing you need to watch out for is if they shot with like an open gate and then panned digitally within the thing. You're
right. So okay, I'm gonna.
Yeah,
click
you can
1,
scrub to another frame.
2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna go on the corners. Whoa, what? That's not it. Maybe I did too many buttons. Hang on. Let's reset. Let's try this again.
Too many buttons. That's the.
that's the corduroy version of Sneakers, starring Robert Redford. Yeah, 3 dots is great. So there's one line. I'm gonna hit Escape and start a new line. Maybe new line Cinema. Maybe I'll do a line down here of cocaine. Hit Escape. Maybe.
Did you know that there are no escape keys on the Severance computers?
That's clever.
Detail?
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Hey, I've watched an episode of Severance now.
You did? Which one? The first one?
You're in now.
Of course, the first one.
All right, so now I'm going to create an undistortion pre-comp. Are we all ready? Ba-boom. Now, what I have...
Wait a second. It doesn't look like anything happened.
No, it doesn't. Let me go into this undistorted work. And now, look, I've got this undistorted comp.
Where'd you get that super panorama view of a super square building?
This actually looks so cool. This looks like...
Look at that. That looks incredible.
It does look incredible. That did a really good job, too. So,
that's
one of my
flawless.
favorite things about this tool is that it gives you this footage as a guide layer in here. So all your VFX stuff you could do in here in this comp, and then in your main comp, it slaps on top of the original footage. So unlike many, many other lens distortion fixie tools, this one is completely non-destructive. Your original footage stays there the whole time, and the only thing that gets added is your VFX correctly matched to the lens.
So here, I'll show you. So if I isolate just the undistorted work comp in here, nothing shows up. And then it's down here, and the mission plate is undistorted. It's totally normal. So if I go into my, into here, the undistorted plate is a guide layer. So if I put some text in and I say like, distort, and let's do impact in honor of, the Thunderbolts themselves. Let me go up here and do center. I'm going to use my Stream Deck shortcuts to center, anchor, point, and layer. Distort just like that. And now if I go back in my work comp, look at that. It is now distorted the way the lens is.
It's so satisfying,
yeah,
really.
And that's what's right there. And then I can comp this layer onto here. So I'm going to track this. I'm going to do the 3D plane stamp in here and see if I can get a better paint out here to work with.
Oh, yeah.
Hashi, you got something? Well, let's actually do a quick break, and when we come back, we'll see what Hashi's going to do next. Here we go.
Welcome to Jurassic.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are Thunderbolting all day and night, or at least until 3 Central. Hashi and Michael.
No, hang on. Before you get to Hashi's thing, Oystin, I'm so sorry about pronouncing your name wrong. Oystin Ramyar Holton says, how did you deal with color management in After Effects when doing the VFX on Sketch? Because, you mentioned you use a lot of Red Giant tools and Super Comp, and currently that's only in After Effects. So how do you do that color management when do you, like they said they've only delivered finished shots because of the budget and workflow constraints, but you're doing a feature film, so were the VFX shots round-tripped back to be edited in log, or were you finalizing everything in After Effects?
That's a great question. They were round-tripped. They were brought back in log, and we had a choice. Really, it was up to the compositor how they wanted to work with those color profiles. You could use, if you're in After Effects, you could use Adobe's like OCIO, we had a LUT that was created for the show that would it wasn't it was like, you said it a long time ago, I'm sorry, I can't hold it any longer. It would take it was not just an area log to Rec 709. It was an area log to Rec 709, but with a look that our DP Meg Stacy had worked with a colorist to create for the show. That was the guide LUT that was used for review and to preview the work in. Some people used it and did the After Effects OCIO stuff. I, however, did not. What I did was, I don't have a log plate to work with at the moment, but I can just show you real quick. If I turn that text back on and maybe put like a...
Can we see your screen, please?
Oh, I'm so sorry. So if I put this, text back on and maybe do a vignette just to show some stuff. So like if I were to use a little thing called Super Comp, and then I'm going to bypass this for the rest of the show so we don't bring it up a million times. If we apply these, this is going to be weird to show without the plate being logged, but hopefully you'll understand it. I have the plate down here, then I have my layers that I'm putting on top of it. I would comp all my stuff with Super Comp in the movie, and so what's great about Super Comp, one of the many things is that you can say, you can assign a specific gamma to each layer and then to your output. So let's say the Mission Impossible plate was log. I would, selecting that plate, go to the gamma, and I would say, it was actually Alexa V3 log C. So I'd select that, and that would automatically put it, treat it as that space. And then if I go to my main output, I set it to the same thing. So now it's going to convert all the other layers that are set to just plain video or Rec 709. It's going to convert those into whatever we want the output gamma to be. And therefore the plate itself is going to be reverted back to its original gamma. And so everything will then be unified in that area log gamma. And so for delivery, we were getting log renders back that the colorist could then work with just as if it were the plate.
And one of the really cool things about SuperComp is even if you're working in like an 8-bit project, SuperComp is 32-bit under the hood, all GPU accelerated. So you could be doing log stuff and comping in crazy, like blowing colors out, then bringing them back all in your SuperComp effect stack, and then kicking them out in that log format just right there. Like it's insane how you can mix stuff together in SuperComp without having to deal with any color management in After Effects at all if you didn't want to.
Yeah, it very much is. Hashi, what are you up to?
I'm just over here. I figured that I might as well show a little bit of the process behind those kind of crazy.
I think you should.
Physics shots. So the first step was, and I've kind of shown you this already, is I had the footage of the person running, but then in After Effects I drew a little mask around them and got myself a nice clean plate for this section here. I actually tracked this whole section.
Did you do that with Plane Stamp or with Phil?
I did one version with Phil and then ended up covering it up with Plane Stamp. The Phil was not bad. It was just a little bit
wobbly.
It's a little bit off. I think that let's see if I have the old version, and it actually really highlights the problem with just using generative fill. Here we go. So where is clean? I must have replaced it. Okay, here we go. So I think I roto-brushed the running characters, and then I used them as an inverted alpha matte that's kind of choked out like that or bloated out like that. So to sort of try to get rid of a lot of them. And I did actually end up having to manually draw these masks down here that were little subtract masks to deal with the problem that Michael was talking about earlier. So wherever their shadow was being cast, I did that. So then I had generative fill do a pass of that, and it looked pretty good, to be honest. So let me show you. So this is sort of the result that it came up with. Pretty clean. But then there was sort of this like sparkly, stuff that happened. It's because there are like two cops that chase after him right there. And so like there's this hint of characters running across screen right here. So I knew that flickeriness I didn't want. And in theory, you could try like making the matte wider and stuff, but the less information you give it, the less accurate it's going to end up. And I realized this is totally trackable for 3D plane stamp. So that's what I did. Then I went through this additional process of sharpening the video. It's already 4K, but I tried applying an anti-motion blur to it. So you can just see that it's like a little bit artificially sharp in some places, but I thought that what that would do is make it so I could actually take this footage and get a really good track off of it, which turned out worked. So here in Cinema 4D, I went to Tracker, created a motion tracker, and then in the motion tracker, you go to the footage tab, load in your footage, ideally as frames. That's what I did here. And now as you scrub through, you can see that there are some frames. The first step is doing a 2D tracking pass that just tracks kind of automatically high contrast points through your footage. Then you run a 3D solve, which creates a solved camera for you and all of these little features down here. So you can see there's these little 3D points. And then to make this workable, there are tags you can add to the motion tracker up here. So I can add a planar constraint, for example, and basically select a whole bunch of points here and throw them into the tag selection here. So it knows that that is a plane facing up, facing Y. Similar tags right here. I have the position constraint tag, which just puts your world origin right in the middle. I think I might have my, oh, there it is. You can see my world origin is right here. I thought that was a good spot for it to be at. And also you can define what direction this plane goes using this tag right here called a vector constraint, where you have one point, in this case, this point right here, look toward another point, which was over here. I think by default, this is what it looked like. And so I went in just to see how big my sim was going to be and added a 3D figure to the to my 3D tracked scene. And the figure was pretty small. So instead of trying to scale or mess with anything, I just went right back to my vector constraint and said, instead of an unknown distance, I'll say, I knew it. I totally know what that distance is between this point and this point. And I think that it is about 200 centimeters. So I'm going to start shrinking down this number. And you'll see that as I shrink down the number, the tracking data looks like it scales for a second, but then it snaps back. But basically, you can do this and just dial in your whole motion tracking world until it's about the right size. And I landed on 200 centimeters and was like, that seems right. So now I've got this figure and all these points. In the background,
the default figure is about 6 feet tall, roughly. It's just a smidge under. So this is such, like Hashi, this is such a good tip for getting an accurate scale in your tracked scene, which is very important for Sims. So thank you so much for that tip. It's such a good tip. It's like the best way to do it.
And then I was a bit of an overachiever. I decided that since I had this clean background footage plate, I would try feeding that to Polycam. Let me disable the reflection on this for a second. I fed the whole piece of footage to Polycam here. It's very small right now. Oops. Very cool. I'll go into here. Let me go to the, if I go to the material tag and then I go to, whoops. Oh, so if I click on the material here up in the material browser and then go to viewport, I can say that I always want this one to show in higher resolution. I used to have this by default for all of cinema turned up high, but then I realized I don't really need it high all the time. So you can just say, I want to see this texture in 4K in the viewport, and it's going to take a second to then do this. So it's actually a pretty decent scan of this area because what I had was a really slow camera move from right here to right here, which is great. And over in my tracking comp, I now have, if I switch away from my solved camera just to another default camera, you see I have this sort of point cloud of information where I can sort of see that that's the ground and that's a stair. So I could grab this whole tracked piece of footage, paste it in here. Oops, I didn't copy it. It's very small right now, but I can grab that and scale it the heck up. Let me maybe center the axis point a little bit, and move this more to the center. In fact, what will be the best thing to do is look at this 3D model and move my axis point over on the 3D model to wherever I had actually put the origin of my footage world, which was somewhere around here. Oops. Oh, I'm in the figure. Just to line up stuff. So looking at the footage, let me go back to my solved camera, and I'm going to turn off the polygon for a second. My origin point looks like it's halfway between where it says black magic and this little red spray right there. Somewhere right around there is where I put it. So I'm going to switch back to this other camera and turn on my ground plane again. So I'm going to take the axis here. I'm still in axis transform mode enabled right there.
Axis transform mode.
Axis transform. I'm going to line that up kind of more with the direction of this and slide this anchor point over, somewhere about where I think it is. It's probably around here. There we go. And now I'll turn that off. And now if I switch back to my solved camera view, I can go to this polygon and know that I can tell it to be at to zero itself out there. I'm going to zero the rotation and see what. There we go. So I guess this wants to be at what? 180-ish. So that's similar. And then I could even go to polygon mode. Whoops, click on my object, go to basic, check X-ray. And now I can sort of see through it. So I can scale up my 3D scan and just try to find where, whoops, I can barely see it. Somewhere around there it kind of lines up. And now I've got this, look at this, it's a 3D stand-in for all of my stuff. So I could, if I had this figure, which is actually a collection of little objects, I'm going to press C and convert it to all of its little pieces right here. Then I'm just going to apply. Like I could say simulation tags, let's make those all rigid, and let's make the ground plane simulation tags, colliders, and now look at that. Now I've got this, oh, it's happening too early. Well, we can live in this virtual world right here. Boom. Hee. Now I have a cool collision system that works right on top of the footage and within that tracking space. But I feel like I'm talking a lot.
No, you're talking a normal amount. I am just working on this paint out. I'm working too hard on this paint out, to be completely honest. Nice.
I can keep going. I just didn't want to.
No. If you're okay, keep going just a little bit longer,
sure.
And then I'll have something to show in a little bit.
Excellent. So the next thing that I would want to do, ideally, just for workflow, is I'll take my crazy photogrammetry model. It's got a lot of data that I don't need. So I'm going to just go to the actual section here. I'm going to grab a lasso brush and just say, I don't really want any of that. Delete. I don't really want any of the stuff back here, whatever these are. delete those. This could be interesting in case like some simulation runs here and like runs into these. I guess that could be helpful. So I've got all that, but it's this very ugly mesh. And I'm not even going to render it. It's just a collider shape. So I'm going to take this polygon object right here. I'm going to create a remesh object, which is the most magical thing in cinema. I'm going to go to the object tag right here, change the mesh density to about, it wasn't crazy dense, but I'll change it to like 25% density. And then I'm going to say, also, I'm going to check this transfer attributes check right there. And now I'm going to move my polygon layer into the remesh. And it's going to think for a second. See, it's thinking down there. And then when it's done, let's see. Okay, 25% was too low. Let's try 50%. I know what's happening. Sorry, it's a photogrammetry model, which I forgot. So these polygons are near each other, but not connected. We're going to go up here. We're going to, with our polygon object selected, we're going to hit Control.
Hashi, there's a faster way to do it.
What is that?
You can just hit if you're in polygon or point mode, select all of them and just hit UO is the command to optimize, and it should weld points automatically.
That'll weld automatically. Ooh.
Yeah, so hit UO and it will do it. Like, I don't want to say, like, early in my Cinema 4D career.
Great.
Early in my Cinema 4D career, I didn't understand those multiple key shortcuts. When I see this, I would see the keyboard shortcut commands. I'm like, why is that little squiggly tilde thing between them? It's like, oh, it's a double keyboard shortcut. It's very handy.
Great. Okay, there we go. So now you see the textures aren't getting all wild. But what's kind of neat about this is I'm going to turn off this stupid work plane for a second. And I'm going to press NB to reveal the polygons now. And look at this. This is what the remesh has done. So the remesh is making an attempt to smooth out and put these quads at a reasonable angle, which is nice. So once I'm running a simulation on it, it's not as dense and crazy, and it has really clear lines like that. And in fact, you could even do some additional smoothing, or you could even define flow splines for the UV wrapping and stuff like that if you wanted to. But I like this, so I'm actually just going to bake it out and use this polygon remesh. Let's call it the ground. Now I have a nice ground that technically has the right reasonable colors to reflect onto, but I don't need to render it. I just want to render my stuff onto my footage. But it's a great stand-in. And to be clear, I don't even need all this crazy photogrammetry stuff. If I'd wanted to, I could just look at these points and see that there's a stair there and a stair there and just like done this. It wouldn't have been a big deal. Like this would work just as well. Look at that. And then you can run your simulation off of that. So if you don't want to go through the whole photo scanning, everything like that, just do this. This would be absolutely fine. And in fact, it might even calculate faster. Who knows? Might as well be.
Yeah, but I mean, having the detail is nice if you want to have a more, like, you want to have tiny things bouncing off the things that are on the ground. But Hashi, again, this is great. You're showing us the full, complete way to do it and the easy, quick way to do it. I'm loving it.
Exactly. So
and the chat would probably be loving it if they weren't too busy making rude jokes to each other. And if you're looking at the chat and going, hey, I don't see anyone making any rude jokes, that's because you're not watching on the VFX and Chill YouTube channel. You were watching on the Red Giant or the Maxon or the Maxon training team. If you want to see all the rude jokes, come on over to the VFX and Chill.
And who doesn't want to see our rude jokes? Excellent. So look at that. I got a nice tracked.
That's why they call us rude boys. Also because we love ska.
We love ska.
Famously,
get me and Seth in a room, and it's
I like the OC Supertones actually.
Yeah, I know, Michael. I'm sure you grew up listening to the Supertones.
Marvel. I love ska.
My favorite thing was when they struck back. That was my favorite time for the Supertones.
It is. All right, so a little bit hard to see. Let me just hide my stand-in ground for a second. So the other thing, since I was in Polycam, I was like, I'm just curious because I've got this frame where, I figure this is sort of the last frame that he would sort of exist before some kind of effect started happening.
It's so dark.
So I
The
kind
last
of
frame he exists.
the last frame. That's a good documentary. The last frame you exist, and that's the way we actually fall out of memory, really. So I was able to. So I grabbed that frame. Let's see. Well, that's the other dude. Maybe I put him in the renders folder. There we go. So check it out. So I made a little PNG of of this frame. Very exciting and kind of weird. But there was an option in Polycam that said, hey, give us that frame and we'll do this for you. I'm going to say merge so I can bring in my pool runner. Say, okay.
Pool runner. Cool running.
So I'm going to come in very small. Let's call him runner. And let's see what we got. Let's see if we got anything useful. I'll turn the ground back on.
Spider-Man, turn the ground back on.
Hell yeah. Scale this up. And look what we got here. We've got...
Hey, he's
that's close
here.
enough for VFX work.
All right, let's see. Let's go to the redshift material and turn down the weight on the reflection, turn up the roughness.
Spider-Man, turn up the roughness.
Yes. And now I've got this runner. I know that, let's see, I'll make the ground X-ray again so I can see where he's supposed to be connecting. And let's see, this runner looks like he's supposed to be right there, a little bit higher, a little bit smaller, a little bit rotatier.
A little bit country.
Don't use those tracking marks on the ground or anything to make sure it's exactly correct, Hashi.
I want intersections. I like to see the intersection of him going into the ground.
I know.
I like it. So actually, I would want to place him here, and that puts the foot through the ground, which is a little annoying. The things we got to do for VFX. All right. So I'm going to lift him up a little bit right there, and then I realize that I'm going to start to want to render some of this. So let's close After Effects. Save that. Let's close Premiere. Let's close these 20 other programs. Let's close the other copies of Cinema running. All right.
I almost missed this joke by Michael Pawlak because it's such a subtle one. He says he appreciates Hashi showing us these steps in detail.
Oh, man. So good.
You guys are acting like you're in awe. You're like, oh, man.
So good.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and take a quick peek at how these materials are all working if I were to try to render this. I'm going to start my IPR, which is going to just look very dark and weird at first. Yeah, too dark because there's no environment in here. But if I go to my asset browser, HDRIs, I can just scroll through and try to find something that has the same kind of vibe as this day. It's kind of exterior, but it's a little bit overcast, so it's not super sharp shadows. Maybe something like this. This looks pretty overcast. Let's click and drag this just right into the empty area right there. Let go of it and close my asset browser. And in just a moment, we'll see that there's now light coming from everywhere. And actually, check this out. It's in a whole new location. I'm in a park in the woods. I'm actually going to go to the dome light here, go to its details, and say, don't contribute to the camera. I just want clear space back there. And if I wanted to see my original footage, I can go to the camera here, go to its background objects, and override that with the same image sequence right here. I have to tell it to be, what's an animation? Yeah. Image, animation, mode, simple, detect frames. All right, there we go. So now my camera has the footage as its background. And I'm not actually going to render these stairs, but I'm just going to leave them in for now while I try to match the lighting here. This dome light, if I was actually looking at my footage, is supposed to be a lot brighter. Something like more like this. And one thing about your environment is you can just take it and rotate it until you see these shadows that are being cast, these nice soft shadows. They're very similar to the ones that were there in the footage, except that in the footage they were down and below his feet and a little bit this direction. So I'm just rotating this around until I see that the shadow that I'm casting with my environment light is doing about the same thing that the real sun was doing. There we go. So now we've got this loveliness. So now I've got this like frozen matrix-like pose of this frame of the running animation.
Perfect.
Which is pretty cool.
So I mean, once you get to this point, you've got so many options of things you could do. But I wanted to pause for a quick second here. Vizua Media says, I wish Adobe put some more effort into upgrading and improving generative fill in After Effects. They were very disappointed considering no improvingness in After Effects concerning AI tools. They are still working on them. I had a conversation with Adobe folks not too terribly long ago where we talked through some things about them. Here's the thing. Getting it to actually work correctly in a full production pipeline, rather than just spitting out crap to throw on the internet, is it's complicated. And to do it in a way that's ethical, which is what Adobe's trying to do, is also takes a little bit longer to not steal everyone's crap. So they are working on it still. So hang on just a minute. And speaking of which, we've only got like 30 minutes left in the show. Is it about time to take a break while we decide what Hashi's going to do to this guy?
That's a great idea. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
It's snow. Snow? Yeah, winter has come.
That didn't work. Well, welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here on VFX and Chill, showing you that it takes like 4 minutes to do that shadow flatten effect. But if you want to do more, you can do.
It takes a lot longer to do a clean plate.
It
takes a lot longer to do like a clean plate of something. So, like, by the way, right now I've got what?
For some reason, when you click to that frame of Tom, I was like, I want that to be my cursor. Like back on like a Commodore where you like swap out your cursor, I'd like put this in and just like
or it floats around and then
down when you click on it.
And then when he picks something up, it like clamps. Yeah, his like arms and hands like grab it, and he picks it up. Oh my gosh, that'd be incredible. Yeah, I've got Roto Tom here, which is fun. I've got the clean plate that's undistorted. I've got.
Paul says it takes his dishwasher about 1.5 hours to generate a clean plate.
Look at that. Damn it.
And Gokhan says, please more big view After Effects. I think they want the After Effects window just a little bit bigger.
No wasted words, but a clear message.
I am now about to dive into the actual like skids of it all. So.
Yes.
I'm thinking this frame is the one I want to blast forward. So I'll probably, right now start by just disappearing him real quick. Were you in the middle of something, Hush, or what was going on? I kind of.
No, I'm at a crossroads, so okay. I think you should go ahead.
Then I think what I'll do is I'll just layer time freeze frame him here and do a little. Let's see. We do a little bit of a fill to black, right? And then we do like a zoom blur. Isn't that what you were doing?
Things are right, yeah.
CC radial
There
blur.
are many combinations of things you could use for this. I even used point zoom for one where I needed to do it in the opposite direction.
Well, actually, you can also just go amount, like
a
little less like that and point it where you want it to go.
Look at that. Look at these beautiful scorch mark looking things.
And so like that. It's already funny to me. So.
Oh, man.
And I believe it was like a very fast opacity, 2 frames down to 0.
Yeah.
So it was like a.
Oh,
I wonder if I want to. If I want to.
Wait, are you in your undistort comp or this is your actual comp?
This is my actual comp. So I've made multiple undistort versions, one clean, one roto, one whatever, just so I can have, like, I don't know why I did that. I did that as if I was going to be super comping this stuff, but you know what? I'm not. I could just do it in the actual thing.
Because I think it'll be easier to use like now that you have this frame of Tom, I would go to your undistort comp.
Yeah.
And stamp him onto those planes.
Damn right. Okay, then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into back into this original work comp where I have my rototom. I'm just going to take all this stuff down here. This is all clean plate stuff. And then I've got Tom, and I believe the frame was this one. Let's say it's this one. And layer time freeze frame. Freeze. And then, so what you did was you did like.
So if you have those planes already, like
I do.
Where you've put the painting, basically, just select those layers.
Okay. Like
so
here
yeah,
and here.
so solo, Tom, but with the filled in black and whatever effect.
Okay. And now what?
And now make him the only layer. Actually, it doesn't have to be the other, but make it so just his layer and the layer you want to stamp him onto are visible for a moment.
Yeah, let's do the roof. Let's do the roof first.
And in fact, you can just have him soloed and just select the layers if you know which ones they are.
Yeah.
There you go. And now you just run 3D plane stamp from right there.
But from where he's supposed to be, like where he's the thing is he's
just
far,
select the layer
he's far away from the
exact
ground.
Frame. Run 3D plane stamp on the frame. It could be anywhere, to be honest, but do it on the frame that he's making the impact.
I don't know where we're going with that.
So yeah, so just like that, plane, select it, and now 3D plane stamp that one.
Okay. But I don't know where I'm going from there, but here we go. Boop.
Oh, you turned off his effects.
Oh, I did. Yeah, sorry, because I was confused. Hang on. I'll go back.
Gotcha. You see what it's going to do now. So it's going to put...
fully, but...
It should project him from this frame onto your in-perspective ground.
He's not in the... but it's just going to be a giant Tom on the building when it's like... Is that what it's supposed to be? Like a giant Tom on the building?
That's what I was imagining you were doing. Was that... Or is he like... Are you going to translate it in motion? I was imagining like a Zach King like illusion that the fact that he's bigger than the building at this moment.
Oh, interesting. No, I was going to do like if you were like if his entrails were to blast forward or like his shadow were
that makes
to
sense.
Hit on it. So like what I was
do that version. That's easy. That's more straightforward.
Well, what I was going to do, I think, was just like a. I think what I did was like
in the
a
witness
shadow
projection program. That's pretty good, actually. Damn it.
Like. If we do like shadow, trying to think of the best way to do this. This is so funny looking. Can you do sideways shadows? You can't, can you? That doesn't make sense.
You sort of can. It's
sort
weird.
Of can. You're right. That's not what I want though.
You can move the whole like axis around, and so it like translates where it is.
So if I do
meanwhile, while you're talking about that real quick, I just want to say the chat is talking about potential. They're talking about different editing apps and things that they're using. Jason Murphy says they feel like Resolve is the most common Premiere alternative, but they're sticking with Premiere for now, which is fine. We love Adobe Premiere Pro and Adobe products, but if you are thinking about switching to Resolve, Maxon One's spring release brings a couple of more Red Giant tools into Resolve. Optical Glow and Real Lens Layers are both now available in Resolve. Including on the Fusion tab for Real Lens Layers. You get all that beautiful obscuration and such things. If you want to learn more about the Maxon One Spring release, which includes Red Giant, Redshift, ZBrush for iPad and desktop, Cinema 4D, all that stuff, the link to the cool release video is in the chat.
Heck yeah.
So let's see. If I do roof export now and it's not going to be big enough. Shoot, then I'll do the roof solid. Make that bigger. And just solo Tom, make him shadow only. Wait, which one did I apply it to? This one, yeah. Shadow only. And then we'll hold on to our roof here and we'll go 3D plane stamp. And now we'll get a Tom top stamp, we'll call it.
Top stamp.
So ideally now...
A really crappy remake of Top Gun.
Ideally now I can... Let's see. Plant him on top of here and actually set him to be... All right, hold on a second. So now... Oh, damn. Hang on. If I just mask it. I've made this overly complicated because it's me.
I've ended up doing this so often, having when there's something bends, having to do the mask and inverted mask copies, and I feel like a fool. Oh God, look at that!
Okay, so that'll blast right there, and I'll probably do a... Let's see, some kind of streaky streak. What's the best way I could smear it?
Do paint dripping.
If I
just right below, he's just super solid outline at the top, and then just liquid.
Let's see.
Going down the side of that building.
Oh, 100% it should be. I'm trying to think do I do a bunch of smears or do I what's the best way to get
like a
splat
pattern, and then you use either a vector blur or glass or chromatic displacement to push out sections of them in that direction.
Oh yeah, I wonder if I...
Here, switch back to me for a second. I'm going to show you kind of the rough basics of where I would go with this next.
Yeah.
I cropped my comp to start at the frame where the action starts because that's where the transition will happen. I grabbed my ground plane and added a collider tag to it right here under simulation collider tag. And then for the runner character, just for simple to start with, I've added a rigid body tag. And one fun thing about rigid body tag is you can check this custom initial velocity in it right here. And what's cool about that is as you adjust it, you can see there's actually a little preview direction for where right here. And
direction.
I'm thinking,
Thank you.
Right here. It is a little...
it is placed in a way
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So, check this out. Once you have something like that, just play this, and the character is going to move in the direction of whatever that initial velocity is. And then, wouldn't you believe it? Check this out. All you got to do to make this even more complicated is
Tell me, how do I make it more complicated? That's what I want.
Add a Voronoi Fracture object right here. Take that same tag with the initial velocity and drag that onto the Voronoi. And and then drag your runner into the Voronoi Fracture. The way it's going to preview it first is it shows you these little colorful shards so you can more easily see how it's going to break up your character. If I go to the Voronoi Fracture right here, I can uncheck colorize fragments whenever I'm ready to go back to just seeing it that way. But there are several cool things I can do in here. One thing I'm going to do is on my object right here, I'm going to check optimize and close holes. So instead of like a shell, he's going to be all like the pieces that render. So basically, that's it. Remember, we have the custom velocity on this object right here, and if I just press play, well, that's even better than the one I did.
Man,
look at that. Now I can simulate all sorts of crazy stuff. And the fun part about the fracture object is it's still interactive. So I'm going to uncheck colorize fragments. I'm going to briefly go over here to its tab called selections, and I'm going to check inside faces. And that'll give me a little polygon selection right here. That means that if I want, I can add a new material. Let's make this something kind of different. Let's have it be, I don't want to do red, that's silly. Let's do like a light blue that is not very shiny, something like that. And then if I drag that onto the fracture object and tell it to be applied to that selection of the inside faces, it looks normal now, but when I press play, oh, I forgot, I guess I gotta I'm grabbing his texture from the runner object and moving it up to the Voronoi Fracture. There we go. So now, when he shatters, the inside of him is all some other color. And you could use, a meat texture or a plaster texture or whatever you're kind of doing. And then if you wanted more fragments than this, there are a couple of things you can do. So I'm going to go to this first frame and click on the fracture object. And I'm going to go to sources. This is what is determining how split up this character is. Right now, it's a point generator that is randomly generating about 20 points. You can turn up that number and have a lot more, and just press play here. Yeah.
That's so cool.
This is about whatever I rendered last night, but the fun thing you can do is this point generator right here is just a random distribution based on its current geometry. Right now the distribution type is uniform, but you could there are several modes. You can do normal distribution, which is more concentrated in the center. So there'll be a lot of pieces in the middle of his body, but like his foot stays all the way intact. There's an inverted normal where the extremities will shatter a little bit more easily. So you get a bit of variety of chunk size. And there's exponential, where this is basically like, an exponential curve of dot distribution, and you can select which axes you want it to be affected on. So like I can have it in a positive direction on the y-axis, so there's a lot of points at the bottom, but fewer as we go up to the top. So it's like his foot will really shatter off, but the rest of him doesn't do as much shattering. So many fun things you can do with a Voronoi Fracture. Geometry glue, you can enable that. That's a fun thing where pieces will try to stick together a little bit. I'm going to change that maybe to a point distance and say if they're kind of within. Basically, you set a tolerance for how close they need to be to each other when they land to kind of stay together. Oh, I forget the scale is not as big as I think it is. Oh, look at that.
This is just such a good way to get like different looks to the shape, so they're not like Voronoi Fracture looking.
And then on top of that, in your sources column, there's this point distribution that it can do, but you could delete that altogether. Go back to my first frame, and you could do something like you could create a matrix object, which is a little grid of grid like this. Just going to put it right here. Hide the grid. And then I'm going to go to my Voronoi object and say that my source for the fracture is this matrix. Cubes.
Nice.
We actually did this in the Doctor Strange episode. And there's way too many. I'm just going to do 15 by 15 by 15 cubes. And look at that, interactive. It's crazy. Boom, so you can put them into little like fractures like that. If you went to your matrix object and instead of a grid, you did linear in a, let's see, Y direction, I guess. You get slices.
And if you too want to see Seth chopped up into a million pieces, you can see the Multiverse of Madness effects at the link in the chat.
Craziness.
We love a good chopping up of Seth.
All right. Well, that's my fun spiel on at least the Voronoi Fracture ring that you could do to this stuff, because it's fun. It's a crazy, crazy little thing you can do.
It really is.
Yeah. Oh, the geometry glue is still on. Whoops. It's like, why is it not slicing apart? There it is. Oh my gosh, look at that. That's some like shabu shabu.
I really like that one so much.
It's that that's a whatchamacallit. What are those things? Scale matrix object up. Look at that, it's so fun. Then, in case you're wondering, once you want to render this all out, you should go to your ground object, go to render tags, redshift, render tag, and then go to the matte object, check override, enable, and check shadows. So once you're in your redshift view, it's going to catch shadows. It's not very clear to see against this black background, but it's catching the shadows there. So when I render this out, I can have them interacting with the footage. Anyway.
Jason Murphy's asking if we ever got a final of last week's video.
What the?
And Paul is suggesting for this project, he wants a bit more friction or something to dampen the rotation on your slices, Hashi.
Oh, absolutely. That's the fun part about all this is you just go right to the collider tag for the ground, and you can say maybe the ground is what has the friction, and it slows down the pieces, but they slide. Or you can say maybe the pieces themselves. Actually, let's get rid of the matrix thing, and let's go back and just add a standard distribution source again with like a bunch of points. And then let's go to this object tag, and I'll say under its collision, let's turn up its friction as well. So that you can have something like that, and now they'll slow down a little bit faster. You can turn these both up as much as you want for just like any sim. You can just run it again and again. You can even interactively basically just like turn up the friction high there, and then once it resets, you'll see pieces having more friction kind of sticking together. That's why they're staying together longer. They're rubbing against. And then you can also even turn up things like stickiness. Look at that.
And I would be remiss to not... that's so much better. I would be remiss to mention
now it's made out of Jello.
That Patrick GG also wants you to add glitter to it. Patrick has been asking for glitter all through this episode, and we have denied Patrick's pleasure.
All right, so here's what we'll do. We're going to go to simulate, emitters, mesh emitter, and then I'm going to go, and because I had my Voronoi Fracture as the object selected, it automatically put that in the geometry right here. I'm going to say, let's do 100 particles per frame at least, and then let's see what this gives us. Woo! Oh, that was a little underwhelming. But, okay, where it ended up is kind of cool. Right here. So let's see. So obviously this mesh isn't liking this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this mesh geometry. Can I have it come from the Voronoi Fracture? Oh wait, Voronoi Fracture, create points per object. I'm going to check that and see if that fixes it. Ah, no, I was hoping that would fix it.
It's pulling off one of the pieces to do it from. If you put in a connect object with weld turned off, it might work better.
Connect object, weld turned off. There. Now let's tell the mesh emitter to use the whole connect shape. So this means it's calculating a lot for the emitter, but I'm hoping it'll still be pretty fast. Yes. Look at that. I'm going to turn down the stickiness. Something I wish you could do when you had little toddlers, right? And I'm going to go up to simulate. I'm going to go to modifiers, and I'm going to turn on bounce, collide, whatever it's called. And that way, okay, watch this. Let's see. Okay, they should spread out more, not cling together so much, but also there should be these particles that, they don't know gravity yet. They don't know gravity. Condition. Oh, wait. Is it a condition in here, or is it just the general graph add gravity?
Just general forces.
General forces. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, let's put, just to organize these, I'm going to put them into the particle group. Adding gravity and adding collisions for this particle group. And now, actually, why don't I just cache this? Oh, whatever. You get it. Look at this. Bouncing and reacting to the ground particles. Oh, it's so gross.
Indeed.
Oh, I love it. My goodness. And, oh man, because even beyond this, you could even put create not a volume builder, a volume mesher is looking at your particle group. Can you do that? I guess is it a volume builder that can source?
Yeah, you need a volume builder and a volume mesher.
Yeah. So I'll put that in the volume mesher and then turn this down. And so I'm just getting just a little bit of that.
I would want to have a ton more particles and make sure their radius is smaller.
Yeah, because it's using...
There's a lot going into fluid dynamics.
Particle group, I'm going to say the radius should be 2. Let's say 2. Let's see how much I need to turn up this to even be able to see these. Probably not going to be a lot.
Speaking of liquid
my voxels
dynamics,
are only...
If you want to see a quick little
There's
sneak peek at some fluid dynamics coming to Cinema 4D, links in the chat.
I know. I'm not going to open... I'm not going to open that version of Cinema yet. But this here's my old go-to. And yeah, I know that I'm just blabbing away, so feel free to...
I'm almost ready to do it.
Anytime. Excellent.
I'm glad you're almost ready, Seth, because we've got 4 minutes left.
I know.
Particle group. I'm going to go to its collisions, and I'm going to say... oh, wait, isn't it here? Let's see.
Hashi, what are you
turn up
for?
its friction a little bit, and I'm also going to turn on flocking. There's a teeny bit of flocking on here. I'm turning up the cohesion strength and turning down the separation strength. Should, I think, give me more liquid-like particles. They'll fall faster and they'll group together a little bit more. Too much bounce. Oh, yeah, the bounce is way too high. Go. Here we go. Gross. Let's turn up the flocking even more. see, collisions. I don't think there's stickiness for these. Oh, there is actually a modifier for it though, right? Stickiness. There we go. Okay, so stick. I'm going to turn up the amount of flocking. More cohesion, please. Gather together like Terminator Mercury. There it is. Yes.
There it is.
And can you imagine if you had this kind of control over other kinds of sims? So fun.
I'm not sure this was worth it, but I need
that is the VFX and Chill promise.
That is it's true. Let's see. Replace this. I'm gonna play it real quick and see how it feels. Oh, I need to fix this a little more.
Hashi, I really appreciate that you've chosen to make this a blue inside so we can pretend they're aliens from Halo instead of...
It's basically, yeah, it's aliens from Halo just turning you into goo.
Yeah, goo's not gross. Goo's not horrifying.
Goo's fine.
Yeah.
We love a good goo.
We do. We love goo. Do you love goo? All right. We're going to... Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save this. I'm going to go to my particle group. I'm going to turn up amount. Oops. Actually, I need to go to my emitter to turn up the amount. Let's go to... instead of 100 per frame, let's do 1,000 per frame. Since it's going through that and the volume builder and volume mesher and everything like that, I'm going to my particle group, cache, and say cache scene. This should cache everything together. I'm going to send it over here to my Pyro cache folder and call it caching simulation, so I can play it back.
Caching simulations.
Oh, it's wild. And I could turn up the threshold more, and so the those little single bouncing balls don't render probably. And I can still do that after this. Oh, it's so sad. This poor guy. He didn't deserve any of this. Be a stock footage actor. It's great for exposure. Good for your reel. I'm just gonna melt you. Okay, so now this is cached, which is great, so I can just scrub through it. But one of the things I'm going to do is these little hovering ones aren't great, so I'm going to actually just go to the mesher and turn down its threshold for what it considers renderable. Oh gosh. Maybe it's an issue of here. Maybe I could go into here. I could also use a couple of things in here.
I don't remember if this is a Cinema 4D particle system thing or if it's just in X particles, but there's a way you can, in one of those particle systems, you say, hey, how many neighbors does the particle have? And if it's got below a certain number, kill it, which is a way to get rid of droplets. I don't remember if this native Cinema 4D has that sort of if questiony thing in it or if it's just an X particles thing, but it's certainly a very useful thing for this kind of case where you don't want single particles just flying around looking silly.
Let's see. What would happen if we actually had the transmission kind of turned up on this subsurface, a little bit higher on this?
Okay, 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock and I've got it. Whew. 3 o'clock and I've got it. We ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
So much energy just to fight Sydney.
I actually, now I'm doing it, I'm feeling it would have been funnier to do it before he jumped.
It's from the Mary Poppins Returns. Yeah, but this time she's and just turning them all to ash.
Oh, it looks so good though, having him spotted on the building, because then it goes with the.
I know, it would just be so much more anticlimactic if it happened right here and just like down the. And then we just watched it go down, like fall down the... Anyway. Okay.
How
Hash,
fast
where
does
are
a
you
shadow fall?
What do we have? I don't know. How does a shadow fall? I wanted to do Simon and Garfunkel, and then I landed in more of a Linda Ronstadt place.
I'm so sorry.
That's really cool. What I'm looking at.
This is not that effect, but it's wild. Oh, I'm rendering particles on top of this. Weird. No idea what's exactly happening. Maybe it's just the fracture pieces. But anyway, that's weird. That looks like some Nickelodeon GAC or something you could buy for a while. It's like styrofoam.
It looks like a Floam, I believe is what it was called.
Floam, that's it. Well,
on that note, Nickelodeon Floam, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Please, for the love of God, subscribe to every channel you see this on, and tune in next week when we do something even cooler. Just you wait. We absolutely know what it is. Michael, good luck with your home.
Yes.
And everybody, if we never see you again, which we will, but if we don't, make sure you go to a theater August 6th and ask for a ticket to Sketch. And if they don't have a movie called Sketch, you demand that they bring it to your town.
Film it.
Yeah. World Star. Bye, guys. We love you all. Bye. Oh, I have to do that. Bye.